Example, dry run is nothing but suppose tomorrow is 26 January, Republic Day. In Delhi, Republic Day parade happens. Yesterday, its dry run happened. You know, yesterday its dry run happened. Dry run means what? Rehearsal. Yesterday it happened. 24th, dry run will happen. 26th, the original parade will happen. What is meant by dry run means it is not actual, but in actual how to do, it will show. That means when which person have to come, all audience also will be there. Only guests will not be there. Everything will happen in the same way how it happens tomorrow. Only guest will not be there. Even several ministers, everything will be there. Some chief guests will not be there. That is called dry run. Dry run means before really generating, we need to first take a trial. That means if you add this dry run, it will not add the component. It will first tell the developer, I am going to do this. Are you sure? Understood? Because if a developer don't know what will add, where it will affect, and without knowing all this, if he directly adds, what will happen? It will affect so much of project. That means by adding one file, changing its name or location, it may affect lot of things in your project. So you cannot add anything without knowing what it is really trying to do. So before adding permanently, first you need a dry run. That is what we call it as what? Dry run. That means it is not really generating. It will show you what it is going to generate. That means see now, if I hit enter, it will create. I will not do that. I will use here dry -run. Remember, these commands are little bit headache because every version the command syntax changes. That means few versions command syntax different. Now this is from latest version. Dry run is written as dry-run. Earlier versions it's not like that. Earlier versions we need to write dry run in camel case. Version by version these commands will change. It's not like blindly you write in notes and after 4 years you follow the same. Right? After, by the time we finish Angular 15, Angular 16 is ready. By the time you finish Angular 15, Angular 16 is ready. Angular 16 is already ready. It is going to come. That means now you need to explore by yourself and see what changes from the official websites. You need to keep in touch because these technologies are not standard every time. They are keep on changing. Several new things will be adding. Syntaxes will be little bit changing. Version by version, you need to explore by yourself by visiting the official website. I will show you where you can see that. Okay. Initially, I am using dry run, but this time it is dry-run. And when I hit enter, it is going to display what it is trying to create. And see, it is creating how many files? 4. And it is updating one place. Right? What it is creating? Home component HTML, home component spec, home component TS, and home component CSS. And what it is updating? App module.ts. And see, it says that dry run means no changes were made. That means nothing happened. That means home component added a? No, it's not added. Just it showed you that this is what I will do. If you are interested, then remove the dry run and hit enter. Then it will really create that. It will really create. So dry run is used to test before what it actually does. That's very important. Blindly, you cannot add without knowing what is added, where it is affected. First, you should know and then add. That is what actually dry run. Okay. Now, in this, what happened? It is generating how many files? Dry run means it is nothing but trail, right? Dry run is trail. Dry run means no changes were made. This I will give. Okay, na? The dry run option means no changes were made. That is the meaning of dry run. It is just a trail actually. But see how many files are created. No, I want only inline technique. Inline technique means how many files? Only one file. That means in command, you can tell what you want also. If you blindly run this command, it will generate code behind. But I want inline. That means suppose, remember, you can have inline in several ways. Some people, what they do is, they don't create CSS file. They will put CSS in TypeScript and they will put only HTML file and TS file. That means styles can be inline. Sometimes what they do, they will put CSS file separate and HTML code they will put inside TS only. That means template can be inline, styles can be inline, all can be inline. There are so many options. We have to just put an option like this. Another option. You can put an option called inline template. Inline template. If you put this option inline template, that means it will not generate. It will not generate .html. That means inline template means you are telling that the markup I will keep inside the TS only. Then it will generate how many files now? 3 files. Test file is compulsory. That means it will generate TS file, CSS file, another one, test file, spec file. 3 files is going to generate. Let's see. I will run this command like this. ng generate component. What is it? Home. After that hyphen. What is it? Inline template. Again hyphen. I will give dry run because I don't want to really type. I want to just see. Right? Dry run add every time. Now run this and see. Now you can see inline template. It is not generating the HTML file. What files are generated? Spec file, TS file, and another one CSS. It is not generating HTML file. So what does that mean? Now HTML can be kept inside the TS. Okay, I don't want the CSS file. Then inline styles. Inline styles means it will not generate. It will not generate .css. If you don't want to generate both, you need to add both. Am I right? You need to add two options. One option inline template, another option inline styles. Right? Then it will generate only one file, TS, another file, spec. If you don't want test file, then skip test. Skip test. Skip test is nothing but it will not generate. It will not generate which file? .spec.ts. So you can ignore and you can create only one. So let's put this here now. So I am adding here same ng generate component home. One is inline template space. Another one is inline styles and again skip test and dry run. All these options we are writing and you will see it will create only one file now. Okay, inline style. Okay, inline style it is, not styles, huh? Right, inline style. Now you can see it is generating only one file. What is that? Home component.ts. That's it. And it is updating in this location. So it depends on how you want to add. That means while adding through commands also you have choice. You can generate code behind component, you can generate inline component, you can generate inline with only template, you can generate inline with only CSS. That depends on your requirement. So remember, inline means it doesn't means that all in one. Sometimes code behind means it doesn't means all. Inline means not all in one. Sometimes only inline styles also can be there. Sometimes only inline template can be there. If you say simply inline means all in one location. If you say only inline styles, then not the, it means that there will be a separate HTML. If you say only inline template, then means only CSS will be separate file, right? That depends how you want, right? I will add now here. See what I am doing currently. You can see in components, there is no home added. Let's do here now. Let's add ng generate component. What is the component? Home. And I will simply use skip test, or I will not use that also, just this, and hit enter. No dry run, nothing. That means it will really create now. When I run this, it really created now. Let's observe here. Close. Let's go to project. You see in the components, home is added. And automatically in that home folder, all 4 files are present. And interestingly, when you select this index.ts, code is also generated. Code is also generated. This is what we were writing manually. So without command also we done that. Command will generate everything for you. That means it is adding everything for you. Everything same na? It have a selector, it have HTML, it have CSS. Component imported directive. And actually it will generate only TS file. Huh? You go to the HTML, it says homeworks. Here you need to customize whatever you want. In CSS, it is empty because it doesn't know what CSS you want. What logic it generated is TS, but all other files it kept empty. You need to customize and you need to add manually. Another interesting spec file, don't see. You will be confused because this is testing related. For that, you need to learn testing. Right? As of now, we don't need this, but see app module.ts. When you go to app module.ts, that home component is registered. Only that it is not present in which location? Bootstrap. So here, if you want, you can keep it. So that means here you need to set which component? Home component. Then you can run and you can see it says homeworks. One more we need to do now. What is it? Any error is there? It's not compiled. Compiled successfully. In home component. Acha, we haven't changed index na. We need to change index, right? In index, which component? App home. Okay, right. Here we need to set app home. Yeah. Now you can see the home works. That is what it there it is in that HTML page. So now it's a little bit easy. Now, if anybody asks which one is best, there is nothing like that. Why? Because sometimes when you add scaffolds, lot of code will be generated which is not according to your requirement. Then we will manually add it, right? It's not necessary that we have to add only through commands, right? So how do we write the commands? Now syntax is like this. We need to just open the terminal, ng generate what? Component. And home, here we define some option like what, there is no order in these options. You can use any order, right? Suppose we want, we can write inline template. If we want, we can write inline style, inline style. If we want, we can write skip test. All these we can do. Or we can simply say ng generate component. Which component? Home. That's it. We can add in any way we want, adding a component. So this is commands. So you learned two techniques now, adding components by using CLI and adding components manually. So depending on your requirement, you can choose any. Now, once we know how to add these components, let's see how to use these components and build a page. We will see now an example of building a page. Let's try designing the yesterday's one Netflix like page. We will see Netflix like page. Let's open Netflix. Let's try to design this page. We will try to design this page. Now in this page, we need to first decide how many components are there. We need to understand how many components are there. Actually, this is one component. This is one component. This is actually a component I will give. This component name is Netflix index. Okay. In index component, what it is having? Background photo. But background photo is not dominated. It is light in color. Okay. Now, here you can see this is header. Header component. In header component, there is a drop down and there is a sign. That is a header component. We have an header component. And this is a main component actually. This is header. This is header. And this is actually main. In main, these are all part of main, but this is another component. In main, it is another component. In main, this is another component. This component is what? This component is register. This is register component. So how many components we need totally? 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 components we need to create. Which component will start? Netflix index. Index will start. In that you can put header, main, and inside main register. Understood? Inside main register. So let's create these components and see now. So I will go here as of now. First, temporarily, we will keep everything in one location here. In my computer, I am having some Netflix banner photo. Okay. I will use some Netflix banner photo. Shopping. Like some public. I have some Netflix banner. Okay. I will copy this. First, you copy the photo. You can Google, you will get Netflix banner and you can save. Where to put it? Let's go to here, the location. You observe here, all static resources are kept in which location? Assets. That means we have assets. You keep all your images here. We have to keep everything in that assets. Now, I am just using Reveal in Explorer. In assets folder, I am keeping that file. This is Netflix banner. So that is defined in assets. In assets, we are configuring it. Lot of issues will come where to keep the files, from where to map. Anybody asked you in interview, is it compulsory to keep in assets? No. You can keep in various other locations also, but that you have to map, you have to set path. If you don't set path, then it will not work. Where to set path, I will tell you. We will discuss that. Actually, those settings are present in Angular JSON file. When we go to Angular JSON file, you can see in Angular JSON file, lot of settings are there. In these settings, you can see lot of configuration settings will be there. Here, all the folders will be mentioned actually. Folders means project folder, and see here prefix. Prefix must be what? For which one? Components. Selector names. These rules we need to follow. If anybody asks, can I change? You can change. So here we can put assets. You can see assets. Assets are present in which location? Projects. In projects what? Shopping. In shopping. SRC. In SRC, assets. Right? You can change path, your wish. That means if anybody asks like, okay, you learned that you have to keep in assets. Can I change that location? Yes, you can change. But for that, we need to customize the path. Okay. So let's go. Image is ready. We copied that Netflix banner. Now go to components location here. I will put one separate. Better, I will do one thing. Instead of components, in app, I will add a separate folder called Netflix. Understood? Netflix related all components we will add here. Okay, we will create a separate Netflix folder. Open that in terminal. Netflix folder is opened in terminal. Now generate all the components that you want. How many components we need to generate? 4 components we need to generate. So ng generate component. First component name Netflix hyphen index. We will skip test file. Others we will keep. That means skip test. Okay. Enter. Netflix index is added. Okay. Next what? Next what? Netflix header na? Netflix header. I am adding another component, Netflix header. Okay. 2 I added Netflix index, Netflix header. Next what? Netflix main. Netflix main. Okay. That is also added. Fine. One more we need. What is it? Netflix register. Okay. That's also added. We are adding all these components now. Now let's close this. You can see in the project, in app, Netflix, all those 4 components are present. So we have Netflix, index, main, register, and header. We should start with which one? We should start with the index. So this Netflix index we will put in startup. App module. See, all are registered already. Right? Netflix index, Netflix header, Netflix main, all are registered. Which one you want in Bootstrap? Netflix index component. So in index HTML also we have to change app what? Netflix index. We will see whether it is having a hyphen or not. Netflix index selector hyphen is there na? Right. So we need to use that here. Netflix hyphen what? Index. We need to keep that end also. Netflix index. Okay. Now let's see the page. It shows that your Netflix index works. Here we want to put a background picture. So let's go, and here we will go to Netflix index component.html. Netflix index component.html. Here we will put a complete div. For this div, I will just put a class called background. Am I right? Now let's go to its CSS file, index component dot CSS. We will access that. What here we will access class as background. What you want to set? We want to set a background image. Background image means we are defining like this. What it is? Background hyphen what? Image. Image URL. URL is coming from assets. What is it? Netflix banner. What we have? Banner. You see, you need to be very careful in extensions also. Netflix banner dot JPG, JPG, PNG, all these. Netflix banner dot JPG. That is the Netflix background we are keeping. Now here you can see it's showing problem now. What is saying it is problem? It is saying that cannot resolve the path. See the path where it is doing. It is accessing the path, projects, shopping, SRC, Netflix header, index component. Actually, this assets, I'm using hyphen. You see that is the hyphen. That means the assets is there. Because we need to define the path, because already in their location they mention the path. To that path we need to add this path, then we have to put a slash. Now very important, there is no content na. What we have to do here, we have to put background height. Background height I will give 700 pixels. 700 pixels background height we are giving. Now you can see image. Background height is 700 pixels, but this banner should fit correctly. If the banner should fit correctly, you know, background we can give size as cover. Background size cover, it will fit like this. Background size is cover. Height I can give some 500 pixels, then it will come in this way. I will keep minimum 600 pixels, then it will be in this way. Now, background is there, but background should not dominate. Background should not dominate. But on that background, we will put some content. Actually, for that, we need to apply some CSS tricks. Like in this background, we will keep a div. This, we will put a class shade. Okay. In CSS, we are giving dot shade. Shade have a background color. Background color, we will give RGBA, red, green, blue, alpha. So 0, 0, 0, it will give black color. Alpha means transparency. I will put that. First see, height. Height is how much pixels? 600. And you can see there is a background shade. But that background shade should be transparent. Then we will put alpha as 0.6. Alpha value will be from 0 to 1. Then it will be little transparent now. We have a background image, but not dominating. That depends on how much transparency you give. 0.4, then means more transparent. So here I am giving 0.5, little dark. So we put a background image and we put the background image in such a way that it is not dominating. Okay, index is ready. Right, where to keep the file? We have to keep that JPG file in assets. We have to set the path /assets/file name. And be careful about the extensions and the name of the file, where you keep the file and all. Okay, now it is there. In this index, we need a header. In this index, we need a header. Let's design header now. Let's go to header. Where is header component? This is Netflix header HTML. Remember, currently we don't need anything with TS file because we are not writing any functionality. Functionalities we will write in the next level. Then we will use that file. Here we are first learning presentations, everything. Now in the header file, what we have to do, you saw the Netflix header. We will put a div. So in the div, or you can put semantic element. What is semantic? We have header. Na? Header is a semantic element. You can just keep header, and in this header we will have one division. In this division we will put a heading, not heading. I will just put here the word as Netflix, and here I will put a class as brand. Brand is company name, right? What is it? Okay, next another div. So in this div, what I will do is I will put here. So one is drop down, means I will put a select, and we will put an option as language. So actually, so they use a bootstrap drop down, because ordinary drop downs of HTML cannot have image. We cannot have images. Images cannot be there. Then usually they use bootstrap drop downs. But bootstrap drop downs require bootstrap scripts also. That is little bit complex. Initially, I will put a just ordinary drop down. In this, I will keep another option. What is it? English. Another option is Hindi, suppose. And here I will use, you can see they have English and Hindi. Right, then I will do one thing into that. I will put Google Translate. Google Translate. In Google Translate, my source language is English. This is Hindi. Target language is Hindi. Copy that Hindi word and we can paste here. We can paste here. That means we have a drop down with that, right? We will have two languages defined here. But remember, actually it is having a icon, but that we can't put in HTML drop downs. But temporarily I will do one thing. I will keep a div, and here we will keep a span. So span class as BI globe. And for this I will give class as input group. And here we are giving a class as a form select. Form select is nothing but drop down. After that, here we will keep a button. We are keeping another button here. So we will keep a button, another div. We'll keep a button here. Button is what? Sign in. So this is class BTN danger. Okay. Now this is just header we designed. This header where you need to show. This header where you need to show in the index top area. Na? Okay, let's go to our index component. This is index component. Here we want to put that component. Header component. Simple. Access its selector name. What is its selector name? App. What is it? Netflix header. This is simple. We are accessing that component in this component. Now you can see actually header is there. But here header is added now, but it is very complex. We need to adjust this now. So what we will do, let's go to header CSS. In header CSS, what we are doing, this is header CSS is this. Here we given a class called what? Brand. For brand font size, I will give as 20 or 30 pixel, and color I will give as red. And you can see it is Netflix. And font weight I will give as bold. Bold will be little thicker. Okay, I will do one more here. Header I will give display as flex. It will keep everything side by side. Display flex. Another one, I will use justify content, space between. That means one will be left, another one will be right. I will use some padding for header, padding as 10 pixel. Some gap will come. I need those buttons and those globe symbol is there, na? Right? In Netflix header here, this globe will have a class called input group text. Input group text. And these two will have a class dflex, that is nothing but display flex, and you can keep side by side. I want some gap between that. That means what we will do is here we will give margin end as 2. That means it will have some gap. Right? I will give the button here. Button size your wish. Actually, BTN, what we do, BTN LG. BTN LG is what? Button large. You can see that is the button. This is the header. That is the header we have. Header is ready. Right? That means here we are having the drop down with these options. That is Netflix header. Suppose I am adding the brand name. What is the brand name size as some 35? Then it will add the size like this. Now this is Netflix index and another one is Netflix header. Right? That is how we define. Actually, that depends on font size, how much you give. Some 20, they will keep their logo. We are not keeping the logo. We are just keeping some text, right? They will have a logo designed in Photoshop or somewhere. They will keep it. Now this is fine. Header is ready. What is next? Main, right? So let's go to the main now. In C, the main have these details now. I will go here. We have to create the main section now. Let's close this header. Okay, let's design the main section now. Let's go Netflix. Which one? Main. Okay, in main HTML, we will keep it div. In this div, this is what we want to display. That means first one, I will keep as heading 1. Second one, I will keep as heading 3. Like this, we are adding heading 1, heading 3. Now these are present here. Okay, this is which one? Main. Where to display the main? Under the header, right? So let's go to index. In index, under the header, I will add a div. Okay. For this div, we will keep. Actually, it is not div. Just we add main here. Understand? In the main, which component we have to access? App Netflix main. This is ready. Now you can see here that is added, but this is here now. We need to adjust alignment now. We need to keep the alignment. So alignment, color and all. Okay. Let's go to the main CSS. Where is main CSS? Yeah. In the main CSS for main, what is it? Color is what? White. That means you can see it is white. So which one? I think heading dot. This is main. No, that directly main is there. No. This is not class. We given where is main div now we created. So actually better we should create this as what already their main is given. I will just keep here. What is it? Div. Okay. That's we will be there. Okay. Now for this div, what we will give text align. Text align as center and height as suppose some 400 pixel height. Okay. One more important is these two must be center. For that, actually in that main, we need to keep these two in another div. And we will apply a class for this. Two divs are there now. Then we will apply a class called main. And here we will use that class. This is what? Dot main. And here we need to use justify content, center, display as what? Flex, align items what? Center. And you can see it will display like this. It will keep in this way. Font size, width and all your wish. You see their font size is large, we can keep that, right? That means for heading, na, so wherever heading 1 is there, what is it? Font size 40 pixel. I am giving large. Suppose 50 pixel. So this is little more large. I need to adjust the width for this. I am giving width for heading as some 600 pixel. Then it will display in this way. I am using, this is enough. So we can add some 650 pixel width, then it will adjust in this way. Right, we can adjust the width and we can define. Now, one more thing we have to do. Below this, we need register, na? Yesterday we done already register. Right, but that register we use a lot of background color and all. Just simply create one register there, okay? So I already have Netflix register. Go to Netflix register HTML. And you know what register contains. Register contains a div. In the div, we need to keep input type is what? Email placeholder. Right. So placeholder your email address. And beside that, there will be a button. Button have get started and will have a span. Class BI chevron right. And this button will have class BTN danger. This will have a class as form control, and both will have a class input group. And I will give some input group LG. Input group LG. Okay, large. Actually, above this, there is one more option also. There is a paragraph. There is a paragraph. So that paragraph is ready to watch. This paragraph is kept above that. Okay. Now this must be displayed. Go to index page now. Index. Inside the main. Inside the main. That means inside the main means you have to go to main. Inside main or below main, your wish, where you want to keep. Suppose here I am adding, what is it? App. What is it? Netflix register. I am adding app Netflix register. It will display here. But I want inside the main. That means then what we will do here, width and height, your wish. I will go to main. In the main, after this heading, we will add that register. After the heading, we will add that register. That means it will display like this. Am I right? That means now we need some gap. Gap you can adjust. Here we can put a class, what margin top as some 4. That means some margin top it will adjust. This gap we need. Then for this register paragraph is there. Na? For paragraph, we will put a class margin top as 4. That means it will have some gap, paragraph. This is the Netflix register. This is the Netflix homepage that we have designed. And by using all the components, am I right? So here we have Netflix index, we have Netflix header, Netflix main, and Netflix register. What is advantage? I told you already. Suppose I will go to index main component. Suppose I want another register form. Then what you do? Just copy another. And you can see another register form will come. You can reuse any number of times. That means somewhere bottom you want another register form, because Netflix people have that now. At the bottom, you can see again register is there. Will they design every time? No, they will just reuse it. Any number of times you can reuse. Just you can access and reuse. So that means you can reuse the component any number of times. This is the advantage, that is allows reusability, right? This is how we have to use components hierarchy. So can we access a component in another component? Yes. So that depends. Any levels you can go, right? You must able to try designing like this, right? This is enough for today. This entire Netflix folder, I will upload as a zip file. Okay, na? In Google Classroom, you can download that and you can try that. Okay. This entire Netflix folder I will upload into Classroom. If you can try this, then we can go with functionality also. We will learn more about components and working with them. That we'll see in tomorrow's session. Okay. Tomorrow we have session. We will celebrate here only. Okay. Right. Tomorrow we'll continue. Okay. Na? Tomorrow no holiday. We have session. Okay. Right. Yeah.